Welcome back to another edition of the GuerrerosAzteca Podcast, a podcast where we talk about the Liga MX and everything going on around the football mexicano. So, gentlemen, the World Cup is over. It's done. Germany crowns themselves champions, World Cup champions, defeating Argentina 1-0 with a hell of a goal from Mario Götze in extra time. So that's it. It's over. It's sad because the next World Cup will have to wait till Russia 2018, and while time flies, it does fly. That's a long time from now, so it's a sad feeling. For me, it's a bittersweet feeling. You know, I'm sad that the World Cup is over. You know, the next one is a long time from now, but I'm also happy because the league that I know and love and that I follow so much is coming back this weekend, and I know you guys know and love it too, because if not, you probably wouldn't be listening to this. It's the Liga MX, man. It's coming back this weekend. On Friday, we have two games that kick off the league: Club Querétaro versus Pumas and Tijuana versus Puebla. Now, on paper, I will say this: on paper, these two games aren't very interesting. They're not very attractive. But I'm gonna watch both of them regardless, because you know I missed the Liga MX action. I haven't had my Liga MX dose in a long time, so I will be tuning into both of those games and checking them out. Interested in seeing who are the teams that are gonna start off well. You know, I think being the tournament being so short, you know, I think it's important to have a strong start. Now, with that said, sometimes you see teams that don't have a very strong start, and then they just turn it up at the end, and then they end up getting into the Liguilla and advancing to semifinals, and sometimes they find themselves in a final. So it is what it is. It's same, you know, it's important to start off strong, but if you don't, with the system that the Liga MX has, which with such short tournaments and the Liguilla, you know, you could come in at 7th or 8th place at the end of the season, and then you know you defeat someone in the quarterfinals. Somehow you find yourself in the semis. You win the semifinals, and you're in a final. It's crazy, and sometimes I can understand why some people say it's unfair. But anyways, we're not here to talk about any of that. We're here to talk about some transfers that have gone down. I haven't given my 2 cents on a lot of transfers, and I really have been dying to talk about them. But you know, for college reasons, I had to study for tests at the time that these transfers were announced. I didn't have time to actually give my 2 cents and opinions on them. So I definitely want to talk about a couple of transfers, and then my expectations for this season. Who do I think are going to be the strong teams? Do I feel that certain teams that were maybe on the ground, that were maybe not so good last season, are they going to come back? Or are they going to be actual protagonists in this season? That's what we're going to talk about. And you know I'm talking about Chivas in that last one. You know, Chivas, what am I expecting from Chivas? Being an America fan, but I know how to be unbiased. I know how to clearly analyze without, you know, feeling anything for Chivas. So anyways, man, let's talk about a couple transfers, man, that have been announced. So today, actually, there was one transfer, and that was, well, this one was already like 3 days ago. They had already pretty much confirmed it, but today it was pretty much announced, and it was 100% confirmed, and that one is the Michael Arroyo transfer from Atlante to Club America for 1 year. It's actually a loan with the option to buy, so we'll see how he fits in Club America. He scored 8 goals last season with Atlante, and I think he had a game that he scored 4 goals, man. In one game, he scored 4 goals with Atlante last season. I don't believe. I mean, I don't remember against who it was, but I do remember. I mean, this is just off the top of my head. I don't have any stats right here. I do remember he scored 8 goals, but I remember him having 4 goals in one game, I believe. It was crazy. So he has some talent. In Atlante, he didn't have many players around him that with talent, and I think right here at Club America, it's gonna fit him well. You know, with Ruben Sambuesa, with Miguel Ayun and Paul Aguilar constantly sending him crosses. You know, playing next to Oribe Peralta or Raúl Jiménez, depending on if Raúl Jiménez leaves or not. They said it was pretty much confirmed. I mean the media. Ruben Rod, I think I follow him on Twitter, and he was the one who pretty much confirmed that he's gonna be sold to Porto for sure. But it's still not clear if he's gonna leave this season or do what Diego Reyes did, which he was already sold for Porto, but he stayed one more season with America, and then he left in the winter transfer. So I think, you know, that's what America wants to do. America wants to keep him for the rest of this season and then let him go in December. But Raúl Jiménez and his father don't want that, because it's a lot harder to win a spot. It's gonna be a lot harder for him to win a spot if he leaves in December. Once over there in Portugal, the league will be halfway. They'll be halfway through with the league, and the starting lineup will already be defined. It'll be a lot easier, or not easier, but he'll have more of a fighting chance to get a starting spot there in Porto if he leaves right now before the season is even started. Also, if Raul Jimenez leaves, that's pretty much confirming that Jackson Martinez is going to leave Porto, so that opens up a spot and gives Raul Jimenez more chances to start in the Portuguese club. So anyways, man, we'll see what happens with Raul Jimenez. I think Miguel Ayun, which was another one that was rumored to be leaving Club America to an Italian club. I think that's been squashed. I'm pretty sure Miguel Ayun is going to be staying. We'll just have to wait and see, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be staying. So I want to talk about the Oribe Peralta one, the Oribe Peralta transfer from Santos to America real quick. And now, while I'm an America fan, and I'm happy with Oribe Peralta fighting for the club in yellow. I'm happy to see him in yellow for next season. They didn't come out and say how much America bought him for. Both clubs decided to keep all that private, so they didn't give out details of the transfer. But it's rumored, and the strongest rumor that I've heard is that America paid $10 million for him. And if that's the case, then I think that's way too much. Oribe Peralta, while he is in the elite of strikers in the Liga MX, he is a great player. He's a proven talent in the Liga MX, but 10 million is way too much, considering that Oribe Peralta is 30 years old and he has 3 or 4 good years left in him. Maybe I'll be wrong, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I think $10 million is way too much money. I think with 10 million, you could have bid for someone like Ener Valencia, which wouldn't have even acquired him for $10 million, because Ener Valencia was sold, I think today. They announced it, or no, it's not been announced, but it's heavily rumored, and it's pretty much a wrap. Ener Valencia is going from Pachuca to West Ham United for 16 million euros. And that's the equivalent of $23 million, I believe, something around there. It's a lot of money, let's just say that, and it's a historic transfer for the Liga MX. I don't think any other player had been sold to Europe or to anywhere else for that amount of money. So that's an all-time high. If it gets 100% confirmed, it's pretty much a wrap. Ener Valencia will be playing at West Ham United in the Premier League next season. So Oribe Peralta, while I'm happy with this transfer, I think 10 million, if that's the case, is way too much, man. So another transfer for America was Paolo Golz from Lanús. He was a Lanús center back. I saw him play a bunch of games in the Copa Libertadores. His team Lanús, or his ex-team Lanús, is actually the one who defeated Santos Laguna, and I saw him play in those games. He's a solid pickup. I saw a bunch of YouTube videos from him. He's a solid center back, and he'll make a good pair with Paulo Aguilar. So strong pickup for Club America in the center back position, considering they let go of Massa Rodriguez to Cruz Azul, and they let go of Aquivaldo Mosquera, their captain. They let Mosquera go to Pachuca. So America definitely needed to pick up another center back, and they picked up a solid one in Paolo Golz. We'll just have to wait and see how he handles the Liga MX, though. We'll have to see how that goes. Gonzalo Diaz is a loan. Yeah, they picked him up on loan from Godoy Cruz. He's a 23-year-old left mid, I believe. And the thing about this transfer, I saw YouTube. I had never had the pleasure to watch this guy play, but I saw a couple of YouTube videos, and it looks like he has a lot of talent. He has some flair to him. He has a lot of technique, and he'll be terrorizing defenses down the left side of the pitch for sure, man. But America picked him up on loan. And I don't think in the contract they have an option to buy. I might be wrong, but from what I remember, I think they don't have the option to buy. So they're gonna develop this young player, give him some market if he ends up being successful in the Liga MX, and then he's gonna go back to his club, and they're gonna sell him, or he's gonna play better over there. I mean, you're developing a player for them, and you don't even have the option to buy him if he actually works well for you. So I just don't think that's a very smart move. But I don't have all the details of that transfer. From what I remember, they don't have an option to buy him out. So anyways, man, I want to give my 2 cents on other transfers as well. There's the Club León pickup. Martin Bravo, which I think is a hell of a pickup. Martin Bravo was pretty much one of the only ones that played some solid over the years, some solid play time for Pumas. Pumas they've had horrible seasons after horrible seasons. I think last season wasn't very bad for them, but Martin Bravo has always stayed somewhat consistent. Sometimes it was hard to find any light at the end of the tunnel for Pumas at all. But Martin Bravo was always there, and he's a solid player. But now he'll be playing for Club León, so I think that's a hell of a pickup for Club León. And Club León is going to be scary next season. They have Chapo Montes if he comes back strong from his injury. Let's see if Gulit Peña also picks up his form, because Gulit Peña, it was a letdown not to see him start the World Cup. I had him in my starting lineup, but I can't blame El Piojo Herrera for leaving him out. I mean, he just lost form. It was crazy what happened to Gulit Peña. He just wasn't himself. And he lost a starting position. Andres Guardado took his spot, and he played it very, very well. So we'll see. Hopefully Gulit Peña, because I'm a big fan of him, man. I'm a big fan of his style, and I think he's a great player. He's a typical box to box player. You see him running non-stop. He's on defense at one end, and then he's over here defining a goal in another. So we'll see. Hopefully he could pick up his form, man, because Club León is going to need him. Although Club León is looking very, very strong for next season. They pretty much have everyone coming back except for Matias Britos, which obviously was replaced for Martin Bravo in that transfer between León and Pumas. So Club León, watch out for them. I think they're going to be strong this upcoming season. Another team that I think is going to be finally a contender, I think. Now, I don't know, because with Chivas, it's kind of hard to tell a lot of the times, but I think they've done a very good job in the offseason. At first, they were man, their fan base was so upset with them because they were announcing just transfers. People were expecting big transfers, especially because Chivas is going to start fighting relegation. They can't afford another bad season. And then you have the Chivas board announcing transfers like David Toledo to Chivas or Sergio Nápoles to Chivas. I mean, that's not what their fan base wanted. They wanted big names, and then eventually they ended up getting not so big names, but definitely some great talent, some veteran talent in Carlos Salcido, Fernando Arce, Angel Reina. They have Luis Michel coming back. So Chivas, I like the Carlos Salcido transfer. He's actually from Chivas, so he'll fit right at home. I think he's gonna have a good season. Fernando Arce is another one that I think, for a veteran, he still has some good talent left in him, and I think the experience is very important, especially in the situation Chivas is in, fighting for the relegation stuff, man. Angel Reina is not really, well, I guess he is a veteran. He's not a young gun by any means anymore. Angel Reina, I expected a lot more from him. I thought he could have been in the Mexican national team, this and that, and then eventually he just, he doesn't have, his behavioral issues always get in the way. When he focuses on just playing football, he's a beast, man. So Angel Reina is a good pickup for Chivas. He was born in, I say born, but you guys know what I mean, in America, so that's a little strange, but it happens, man. Look at Maza Rodriguez. He played well for America for a couple of years, and he was born, I say born again, in Chivas. So it is what it is. So Chivas and Carlos Bustos, especially their coach, their manager that they picked up, I think is a solid manager. He was unjustifiably fired from Morelia, and he showed some good stuff with Morelia. I liked the style of play that he had in Morelia. We'll see if he could actually also put that to display in Chivas. But he's a manager that is just quiet, that doesn't have much media attention, but he definitely showed some interesting stuff in Morelia, and I like the pickup. Carlos Bustos, after the circus that they had with Ricardo Lavolpe, with the whole massage thing, and it was just ridiculous. But finally they have some peace, they have some quiet, and they're getting to work with Carlos Bustos. So Chivas, watch out for them. I think Chivas is actually gonna be a contender. I don't know if Liguilla. It's hard to tell with Chivas, man, because with their owner Jorge Vergara, things change drastically. Things just change from one day to the other, and it doesn't surprise you anymore in Chivas. All of a sudden you'll see Carlos Bustos win the first 2 games, and then he loses the next 2 games, then he's fired. That just happens with Jorge Vergara all the time, and it's not, you just don't know with Chivas. But I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be okay for next season, and they have to be. They absolutely have to be, because they're getting close to that relegation spots, and that's scary. That's very, very scary. So Cruz Azul, man, I think Cruz Azul is going to be another season where Cruz Azul is actually going to be a contender. Cruz Azul is always there, and Cruz Azul always picks up some very, very good talent. They actually got Maza Rodriguez, man. They got Maza Rodriguez from Club America. And, you know, it was weird because when this transfer first, you know, I'm an America fan once again. When this transfer was first announced, I was like, yeah, that's good. You know, we finally got rid of Maza Rodriguez. But then after watching the World Cup, Cruz Azul got a hell of a deal, man. Cruz Azul has a hell of a center back if Maza Rodriguez could keep playing like he did at the World Cup. He had a very good World Cup, in my opinion. And maybe not very, very good, but it was solid because the whole Mexican defense was solid till those unspoken last 5 minutes of the game versus the Netherlands, where we know the Mexican national team fell apart. Damn it, man. It still bothers me. But anyways, man, yeah, I think Cruz Azul picked up a solid center back in Maza Rodriguez if he keeps his form from the World Cup. If he keeps playing like that, then I'm going to be upset because I was happy that he left America. Because I thought he was done. I thought he just wasn't gonna. I wasn't behind him being in the World Cup roster. I didn't think he should have started the World Cup, but he shut my mouth. He shut a lot of people's mouth, and he played a great World Cup. And if he keeps it up for Cruz Azul, then yeah, I'm gonna be upset that he left America. So, anyways, moving on, man. Atlas is another team that I feel is gonna be solid next season with pickups like Aldo Leao Ramirez coming from Morelia to Atlas. I think he's a solid center defensive mid who could also play the cam position. He also has some nice offensive qualities to him. Aldo Leao Ramirez he would have been in the World Cup, but he actually got injured, so that kind of sucks. And also they picked up another player that got injured and that would have been in the World Cup in Juan Carlos El Negrito Medina, which I was upset that America let him go because I was a big fan of his. And I felt he still had a couple good years, man. But he's going home. He's going back to Atlas where he started his professional career. Those two pickups are the ones that stand out to me from Atlas. Maybe I'm missing a couple more, but there's others like Edgar Castillo, Eddie Brambila, and Enrique El Paleta Esqueda. So those are also up there, but I think the ones that mainly stand out to me are the Aldo Leao and the Negrito Medina transfer. So Atlas, good stuff. They picked up some good talent. Another great transfer that I thought was the Tigres transfer from the Lucas Lobos transfer from Tigres to Toluca. Now I was surprised that Tigres let him go. You know, he is 32 years old, but he's a fan favorite. You know, he gave them so many good moments, and then after a couple bad seasons from himself and from the team overall, they decided to let him go. He didn't have the best relationship with the Tigres board, so I guess that also played into it. And he had bad seasons, but he also had an ongoing issue with he has a little twin boy that is having health issues that he's been hospitalized for a while now, and that gets into the psyche of the player, and that doesn't let him play to his full potential. But Tigres decides to let him go to Toluca. I think that's a hell of a pickup for Toluca. Although he is 32 years old, I think he is one of those players that just, although maybe his physical abilities won't be all there in the next coming seasons, but his football IQ is so high that he thinks faster, and he sees the plays before anyone else on the pitch, before the enemy team. So I think he's just one of those players that just with high football IQ, he makes up for his lack of athletic abilities, because he is 32 years old. He's getting up there in age, but he's still pretty athletic. He's not slow or anything. So anyways, man, more transfer. Juan Arango, Xolos picked him up, the midfielder, the attacking midfielder from Venezuela. He is also up there in age. He's 34 years old, but I think he's a solid pickup for Xolos. And Xolos, we'll see how he plays in the first week of action right here against Puebla. So I want to, I know I missed a bunch of transfers. There's a ton of them. I just wouldn't be able to cover all of them, man. It's just impossible. Leones Negros got some interesting pickups. Marc Rosas, Leandro Crufre. They got Andres Rios from America. He's actually loaned out. So there's a bunch of transfers that I didn't cover. Matias Alustiza going to Pachuca from Puebla. A bunch of them, but I just can't cover every single one of them. Now I want to get to my predictions for the first week of the Liga MX, week 1. And we'll start with the Club Querétaro versus Pumas. I have a draw on this one. Club Querétaro is at home. I have a draw on this one. Club Tijuana versus Puebla. I have Tijuana winning this one. I'm not going to really give scores because then it just becomes too complicated. Veracruz versus Santos. I see Santos winning this one. Cruz Azul versus Pachuca. I have a draw. Monterrey versus Leones Negros. Oof. Monterrey. I'm going with Monterrey because they're at home. Monterrey, I see them winning this game versus Leones Negros. León versus Club América. Oh, man. What am I going to pick on this one? What is it going to be? Draw. I'm going with the draw. I pictured it in my head a little bit, and I said, all right, draw. Atlas versus Tigres. I have Atlas winning at home, their first game of the season. Toluca versus Morelia. I have Toluca winning at home as well. And Chivas versus Chiapas. Chivas is at home. I have Chivas winning this one as well. So those are my predictions for week 1 of the Liga MX. Let me know your predictions in the comments down below and what you think about all the transfers that we discussed in this podcast. Pretty long podcast. I'm actually pretty tired of talking already, so I'm gonna cut it right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Likes appreciated, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, bros, and as always, que viva el fútbol.